red light comes on. There we go. Okay, now, let's see how many we got. We got 10. Good, we got 10. We only missing one person. So, no, that's not, that's the other class. We're missing about 4 people. So, I think we're missing, yeah, 4 people, 4 or 5 people. Okay, but we'll go ahead and get started. What I wanted to show you is for this class, I meant for Unit 2, and I will do this in a blue. For Unit 2, I'm still surprised y'all can see this because, like I said, it's like dark here at my house. And I don't know why it will not. Hold on a minute. Let me turn the focus on. It's supposed to be on autofocus. And it's not focusing.
Is that Walt making all that noise in your background?
Well, he was feeding the cats, yeah.
Aye.
Yeah, he was feeding the cats because I have this one cat that weighs about 19 pounds.
Dear God.
And if he doesn't have his food, he acts like y'all do at the end of class. He goes into convulsions and starts rubbing on you, and there's food there, but he's got to have fresh food out of the bag. So he's spoiled rotten is what it basically comes down to. I'm going to leave it there. I don't know why this thing, oh, that's why, manual. Yeah, it's not doing, so I'm going to put this right about there. And hopefully that's clear enough for you. Okay, Unit 2. Unit 2 is going to consist of 4.1, 4.2, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, and I think 5.5. 4.1 and 4.2, talking about 20% of the test. And we're talking about, you know, the correlation coefficient. We're talking about linear regression. Give me the linear equation. And let's see, correlation coefficient. And be able to pick out if there is correlation or not in a graph. Okay, so that's what I'm going to ask you there. If I give you 20 questions, if I give you 20 math questions, 4 of them are going to come from, so 4 out of 20, and that's an example. Now 20 math questions. I don't consider my bonus questions math questions. So if I gave you 20, then 4 would be out of 4.1 and 4.2. 5 is general probability. And I don't know where odds are. I've got to find odds, or y'all can find odds. I don't know what section. This is a new book with Fairly, and I just teach odds. So I got to find it in the book so I can tell you where it is because I couldn't find it. It's in there somewhere. 5.2 is the additive law. 5.3 is the multiplicative law. That's what we're doing today. And then counting is 5.5. Now, of course, that's not counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is using factorials in calculations. Okay, so that's going to be, I think if you look at your outline, I think I'm skipping 5.4. And if I don't even know if we have to do 5.6, but we're not going to do them. This is what you're responsible for. So don't be going into sections that are not on this piece of paper. Okay. And I will cover odds as soon as I cover the multiplicative law. Not today, but probably Monday. So we're probably talking about a test, probably talking about the review test, looks like around Wednesday or Friday of next week. Probably Friday. So that means those people that wait and do the homework at the last minute, those of you that do the homework, there's 3 or 4 of you that haven't done the homework, and I want to reiterate, that's 20% of your grade. Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I had a student last semester, this is what he did, and it's always a he for some reason, okay? He had an A average on his test, and he had a 0 on his homework. You take 80% of his A average, and you take 20% of 0, which is 0, and you add them together, and he had a 60. I'm sorry, not a 60, an 80. Okay? So if you're, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this right now. If you're not going to do the homework, which some of y'all are not doing, then you're going to get, if you have an A average, you're going to get a B in the class. If you have a B average, you're going to get a C in the, let's see, a B average, that would be a D. Okay, so you're going to drop 2 letter grades. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you that right now for those 4 or 5 people that are not doing the homework. Because you already got 0s on the first unit. Okay, so I just want you to know that, because I don't want you to be like that student last semester. And of course, helicopter mom, she chimed in, and I said, well, I'm sorry, but I'm not supposed to discuss this with you, but I will tell you he didn't do any homework. And that's 20% of the grade, and that's in the syllabus. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, your student forgot to tell you that. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, if you're choosing not to do the homework, that's going to drop you 2 letter grades at the end of the semester, no matter what your grade is. Okay, so make sure you get this homework done. For those that wait till the last minute, you might want to get started on it now. All right, multiplicative law. Let me get my brown marker. Since my blacks, I gotta hit Amazon with my black markers. I'm out of black. Okay, so 5.3 is multiplicative law. Now, with the additive law, we had to remember the key word was or, and you have to always subtract the overlaps. Let me get my red marker. That means important. With the multiplicative law, we have to look for the word and. Find the probability of a blank and blank. Okay? The last sentence will probably say something like this. Also, the multiplicative law is used when you draw blank or draw several from a quantity. Okay, so like if you pick 4 golf balls out of a golf ball bag, what is the probability of the 4 draws being pink golf balls, or pink marbles, or red marbles, or blue marbles, or what is the probability of picking 3 kings in a row out of a deck of cards? Okay, the difference, general probability in 5.1, well, this is not important, but let me go to my brown or blue. Okay. General probability in 5.1 was just picking one king out of a deck of cards. Okay. 5.2 was picking a king or a queen. That's 5.2. 5.3 will be picking 3 kings in a row out of a deck of cards. Okay, so that's the difference between the additive law and the multiplicative law. And you could say a king and a king and a king. That's a different way of writing it. Okay, so with 5.3, you're dealing with the word and the special rule with and is replacement. With or without. With replacement means that you pick a marble out of a bag, you put the marble back. And it does not change the mathematics. That's called independent. Make sure you write down independent for with replacement, because they'll ask that in the homework and the test, and you got to know what it's talking about. With replacement is independent. Now I'll explain this more here in just a minute. Without replacement is dependent. That's if you pick a marble out of a bag, you record it, and you put it over there on the table, and you don't put it back in the bag. That changes the math for the next draw. Okay, so that's the important stuff, not the blue stuff, the red stuff. That's the important stuff for multiplicative law. Also, I'm going to put something here. After 300, it doesn't matter. I'll get to that when we go over an example. After 300, it doesn't matter. And we'll get to that when we do an example. As with the additive law and with general probability, the best way to explain it is to go over some examples. Okay, so you're looking for the word and also if it says several from a quantity, like a golf ball or marble or 3 kings out of a deck of cards. You know, you're picking several out of a unit or a quantity. The key word for the law of multiplicative law is replacement. The question will tell you with or without replacement. They may also say independent or dependent. You got to know which one's which. With replacement is independent. Without replacement is dependent. And after 300 doesn't matter. And that's a little rule that I came up with. It's not mathematically proven, but you'll see when you do an example with over 300 what happens. Okay? So with that being said, let's go ahead and start with a homework question. A question. I always show a, I'm gonna write the word because some people think I'm talking about cigarettes. Well, there's one thing I do not talk about, and that's cigarettes. Can't stand them. Marble, okay? A marble bag. I actually had a student, why are we talking about cigarettes? They thought I was talking about a Marlboro. Anyway, a marble bag. Now, some homework questions and some test questions refer to a golf ball bag or a golf bag, okay? And the golf ball being different colors. So I'm going to put golf balls right here because this is the type question you're going to see on a test. Either it has marbles or golf balls. Okay, in the marble bag, there are 5 red marbles. There are 5 blue marbles. We're going to make it simple. There are, of course, my favorite color, 5 yellow marbles. I still can't believe y'all can see what and it's like almost dark here. And better write in this color because it's 5 green marbles. Okay, now, of course, the test question or the homework question may have golf balls. 5 red golf balls, 5 blue golf balls, 5 yellow golf balls, 5 green golf balls. Now, the first thing you got to have, just like in a additive law, you got to have a denominator. So 20 is your denominator. The question will ask you either different colors or it will ask you several colors from several draws. Okay, so I'm going to show you the different type questions. Here's one question. It's going to say the probability of a red and a green. Okay, a red and a green. So then you would take the probabilities, and of course, it would matter if there is a and it'd say with replacement. So it would say independent with replacement, and you would go ahead and do the math. So what do? Well, everything's going to be over 20, but I'm going to do it 2 separate. So I'm going to do red. It's going to be 5 over 20 times green is going to be 5 over 20. And 5 over 20, 5 times 5 is going to be 25. And that's equal 25 over 400. And I don't really care about you. You know, you can reduce and write as a decimal. That's fine. I'm just showing you how to do the multiplicative law. Okay. Now, that's usually a question. What is the probability of a king and a queen? Then that would be 4 over 52 times 4 over 52. Okay, so that's one type question you might have with this type of multiplicative law. It's not the most popular. I'll show you the most popular next. There's 2 more type questions, and that's the most popular. So I'm going to fold this in half so I can still use the marble bag. There's just several things I never had developed a taste for in my life, and I'm very happy that it's non-addictive stuff. But one is smoking, and the other is beef liver. I've never been able. I've tried it several different ways, and the smoking thing, cigars, any kind of smoking, I just don't. I'm not I just never developed a taste for it. Let's go with the probability And this is where you're going to see probability of 3 red marbles. You're going to pick 3 times, and they want to know the probability of picking all 3 red marbles in 3 tries. Now, of course, that's going to be a very low probability. And it's with replacement, so it's independent. How many red marbles are there? There's 5. So it'll be 5 over 20 times 5 over 20 times 5 over 20. Because when you pick out a marble, you're going to put it back in the bag. So the 5 stays there and the 20 stays there. So why did I do it 3 times? Because that's how many draws. It said 3. So you're either going to have 3 draws separately, or you're going to write it as 5 over 20 raised to the 3rd power. And that 3rd power, take our highlighters out, that 3rd power is always going to match how many draws. So if I said, what is the probability of 4 red marbles? Then that would be 5 over 20 to the 4th power. If I said, what is the probability of 5 red marbles? Picking 5 red marbles in a row, well, that's almost going to be like 0. Okay, because if you reach into a bag with different colors in it, there's hardly any way you're going to pick 5 reds out of all those colors. There's no way. Okay, so it's going to be like 0 probability. Okay, somebody's got a question. Let's see what the question is. The question is, I have to leave for a class on campus. Is class already over? Okay, go ahead. What time does your class start? Okay, go ahead. 8:35, 8:36, go ahead. Okay, so there we go. All right, so how do you do this on your calculator? Pull out your calculator. Pull out your calculator, and we're going to do, let me pull back my, there we go. And that's going to be parentheses. Now I'm going to do it the easy way. I'm not doing it this way, okay? If you want to type in 5 over 20 times 5 over 20 times 5 over 20 with parentheses around each one, go ahead. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do 5 divided by 20, close parentheses, raised to the 3rd power. And that's going to be 0.01, write all 5 digits down, or 6. There's a reason I want you to do that. 0.015625. Now, most of your answers dealing with multiplicative law is going to be rounded to the 3rd decimal point. And there's a reason, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, does anybody have a question on the first type of problem with, multiplicative law? Anybody got a question on this one? And this one is more likely to be one on a test. Okay, but they might throw one in there, or the homework that says, what is the probability of a king and a queen? Or what is the probability of a king and a 2? Or what is the probability of a red and a blue? So that's the first type question. The second type, and the most popular, is 3 reds, or 3 kings, or 3 blues. What is the probability of picking those in 3, 3 draws, picking 3 blues, or picking 3 reds? With replacement. So that means after I draw a marble, I write it down what I got, and then I put it back in the bag. And therefore the 20s don't change and the 5s don't change. Now, the second type question, or the third type question, is going to be just like this one. We're going to do the same thing, only this time we're going to make it dependent. And I'm just going to put that over here. And we're going to make it dependent. So the question will read, what is the probability of 3 reds dependent or without replacement? Okay, what is the probability of 3 reds without replacement? Okay, so the first draw is going to be 5 over 20. And then you take that one that you drew, and instead of putting it in the bag, you lay it on the table. Then what's my next draw going to be? If I've picked one marble out of the bag, what's my next probability going to be? 5 over 20 or something else?
4 over 20.
19.
4 over what?
19.
19.
Good job. Now, do you remember that from high school, or do you just read the book and are a good student? Which one is it?
I remember from high school.
Okay, good. That means I'm glad. I wanted to see if y'all covered. I don't know what y'all cover in high school probability, so that's good. All right. So the next one, 3 draws, would be what?
3 over 18.
3 over 18. Do you remember that from high school too, or did you read up, Miss Hicks?
Read up.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh, I feel faint. Somebody actually read. Wow. You're the one. All right. So now I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator and I'm going to do this. And I'm going to have to do it the long way because there's no way to do it the short way. So here we go. Parentheses, 5 divided by 20 times, parentheses, 4 divided by 19 times, parentheses, 3 divided by 18. And enter. And look at this, 0.00877. 0.0087719 7719. And what can y'all tell me about the answers for the 2 outcomes? Are they equal? They're not equal, and they won't be. Okay? The 3 would be 0.009, and here would be 0.016. They're not equal. Well, then when do they become equal? When does it not matter which method you do after 300? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the marbles, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to make each one of these marbles, I'm going to make it 500, 500, 500, and 500. So that would make 2,000. Now let's do the two different ways. So let's go back to the probability of 3 reds. Well, of course, that's going to be 500 over 2,000 raised to the third power, which we've already done that because that's 5 over 20 raised to the third power, which we said was 0.015625 or 0.016. Okay, that doesn't change. But watch what happens when I do the other method. This is independent. Watch what happens when I do dependent. Probability of 3 reds. So that's going to be 500 over 2,000. What would the next one be? That means I want y'all to talk to me again. I'm sorry. Okay, you take one marble out of the bag and you put it on the table. So tell me what the next would be.
499 over 199. 1,000.
Over what? 1,999.
999. Yeah.
There you go. You have the same problem I have, Miss Hicks. You have to think a minute when you drop off that 2,000. You have to think a minute. All right, and then the next one would be 498 over 98. Okay, so let's do our handy dandy calculator. Take our handy dandy calculator out, and that's going to be parentheses 500 divided by divided by 2,000 times 499 divided by 1999 times 498 divided by 1998. Close parentheses and equals 0.0155546993 or 0.016. Okay, somebody tell me, what do we gather from this example? That means I want y'all to talk again. It's called interaction.
Are they equal? Will they be equal?
They are equal. 0.016, 0.016. So what does that mean? That means the larger the numbers, the less you have to worry about if it's dependent or what? Independent. So if you have numbers above 300, you can pretty much use your exponents instead of doing this. Question on that one? So there's 3 types of questions, or several types of questions in this section in 5.3. Okay, what types are they again? Well, the first type is going to be a general probability of a king and a queen. So they're just asking you, if you draw 2 cards, what is the probability of it being this one and this one? A spade and a heart. A king or a 10. You know, that type question. The second type question is going to be the probability of red and red and red. In other words, what is the probability of picking 3 colors back to back? Okay, these are not the same back to back. These are. And then, of course, the third one will be the same question, probability of 3 colors, except this time it's dependent. And these will usually be less than 300. Okay, I use 300 because I've seen in the last few years that 300 is the number that's safe. Because when you're dealing with 198 and 211 and 300, or not 300, but 200, your third digit starts to waver a little bit. Your third decimal place, it starts to not equal. Okay, so I just started, making a mental note. What number does it work better? And I found out that above 300, it works better than below 300. So, and then the fourth type question will be the probability of red and red and red, and that'll be above 300, or a question with big numbers, or just big numbers, BA numbers. Okay, and it really don't matter. It may tell you independent or dependent, but since the numbers are above 300, it really don't matter which method you use. So those are the 4 types of questions that you will see in the homework and the test from whatever section we're on. I get the chapters mixed up between classes. 5.3. Okay, so 5.3 type questions. So I got another one I want to do. I do realize that some of y'all are going to convulse here in a few minutes, but I still want to go ahead and do it. Well, I'll wait and we'll do it Monday. Okay? Because I don't want y'all to, convulse and knock your head on a table or something. So let me go check out the attendance, and I think we've got perfect attendance in here this week. So I don't